Now, in this session, let us start with understanding a brief history of C#, the types of applications that can be developed using C#, and also we shall understand what is a C# console application, and let us develop our first C# program and execute that program also. So to start with, let us understand what is C# language and why that language has been introduced by Microsoft. Whenever we say C#.NET, we pronounce as C#. So what is this language all about? In short, we can say it is a language with all the greatest features, with all the latest languages such as C++, VB and Java. This language also consists of the features which are required for the next generation application development. Now, let us try to understand one important point, that is, when we already have so many languages and some languages are very popular also, right? Then why again another new language like C#? So let us first understand that point. So let us consider the most popular languages of all times prior to C#. Then we can consider three languages. One is C++, the second one is VB, and the third but most popular language, that is Java. Now let us observe the best features of these languages. When we observe the language C++, we can consider the features such as templates and function pointers. And when we observe the VB language, then we can consider the features such as RAD development, that is rapid application development, database integrations, component orientation model, etc. All these features makes a VB a very powerful language. And when we observe the language Java, this language has introduced a whole lot of new features. Java can be considered as a pure object-oriented programming language. Many new features has been introduced, such as abstract classes, interfaces, multi-threading, etc. Now, if you observe these three languages, the best features of one language is not available or not fully supported by other language. We need to always understand one important point. Whenever we say that something is good, then it means it is good only. Whatsoever, if a feature is good in a language, and if that feature is not present in another language, then it indicates that the other language is missing that feature. So Microsoft wanted to develop a new language in the family of C++ using the component orientation model of VB with the features of Java to solve the next generation application development. Now, Microsoft wanted to provide a name for that language. If you recollect, this language is going to be from the family of C++, and this language will be providing more functionalities over C++. So if we provide a name like C++++, but wait, we know that plus operator in C++ means it is an incrementation. But when we provide 4 pluses, then there won't be any meaning. So in order to provide the meaning, we need to specify as C++ within the braces and plus. But if we consider this as a language name, then it is not suitable. And we can't even pronounce that language name properly. So instead of providing the name as C++++, they provided a new name for the language called as Cool, which stands for C like object oriented language. But Microsoft doesn't choose this name because again the trademark reasons, and also Microsoft wanted to specify the name in such a way that it will reach the world easily. with the meaning that this language will have more features than C++. So they came out with one simple solution. In musical notes, we have sharp notes, which will be equal to 4 plus, that is 2 increments. And the symbol for sharp notes have a resemblance of hash symbol. And hence Microsoft decided to provide the name as C, and since we don't have a sharp symbol on the keyboard, they have used a hash symbol. And when we pronounce the language, instead of calling C hash, we call the language as C sharp. I hope you have understood why this language got introduced and why the name C sharp has been provided. Now, let us understand what are the different types of applications that can be developed using this language. We can develop console applications, Windows Forms applications, class library, Windows Forms control library, ASP.NET web applications, ASP.NET web services, web control library, Windows services, WCF services, workflows, WPF applications, Silverlight applications. Currently Silverlight is no more available, remember that. And Windows Phone and Windows Store universal applications, cross-platform mobile application development, that is native applications for Android, iOS and Windows Phone using Xamarin, etc. Initially, to understand the C# language fundamentals, we will be using console applications. And later, once we are comfortable with the C# language, then we will move on to web application development using ASP.NET web applications and desktop application development using C# with the support of WinForms applications. Now, let us start with console applications. So, what are console applications? In simple terms to understand, whenever an application accepts the input from the console and projects the output on the console, then such type of applications are said to be console applications. In a no-wise person terminology, we can assume that a console is nothing but a screen. And remember one important point, console applications are also called as command line argument applications. Now, let us try to understand the structure of C# console applications. Hi friends, hope you are enjoying my videos. If you like my video, please subscribe my channel and click on the bell icon to get the notifications of all my latest videos. Friends, many students are asking me where can we find your courses and how to get my courses for the best price. Friends, if you are already a Pluralsight subscriber and wanted to upgrade your skills towards Java stacks such as JDBC, Servlets, JSP and Spring MVC with Hibernate through my courses, please check out the links present at the description on this video. Many students are requesting me to provide trainings on various technologies, which I couldn't able to fulfill all these days. Now, here is the good news. You can learn from me at the most affordable price, $5 to $10 for each course, which means now you can upgrade your skills to the latest technologies at the price lesser than watching a movie. You can find my courses at Udemy and also in our website technoacademy.net. The best price of my course at Udemy you can find using the link provided at the description of this video. And also you can find the price I'm offering at my website technoacademy.net. Wherever the price you feel lesser, subscribe my course from that website. Happy programming, yours Shekhar. First, we shall start with writing the comments, which is used to specify what is the program or code is all about. And writing the comments is an optional, but it is always advisable to write the comments for efficient code maintenance. Then we need to import all the packages to be used within the application with the support of using namespace hierarchy statements. Once we have imported all the required namespaces, then to start with our code, we need to specify namespace name. And within the namespace code block, we need to define the class using class name. Unlike many other languages such as C, C++, for C# also, the entry point for the execution of the program will be main method. So to define the entry point, that is main method, we need to specify public, which is optional. Then we need to specify static void main, and the method accepts a string array of arguments, and within the main block we need to write the statements to be executed as per the requirement. And remember that even the arguments what we are going to pass for the main method is also optional. Now, one important point we need to remember about C# language is C# language is a case sensitive language, but it is not a line sensitive language. That is, if I define a member in uppercase, it will not be equal to the member defined in lowercase. And if we need to write a statement, we can also split the statement in multiple lines. Before we start entering into the programming, let us first understand the term namespace. If you observe the syntax also, this word has been repeated frequently. So what is namespace? In a simple terms to understand, a namespace is used to maintain the class definition in a hierarchy such that the class definition can be accessed easily, and also it avoids class name ambiguity. In order to define the namespace, the syntax will be namespace name, and within the braces we need to define the class definitions. Now, in order to refer the classes present within the namespace directly, we need to use using namespace hierarchy, and then we can invoke the class name directly. To understand the statement properly, let us use our default namespace hierarchy from the .NET framework. But prior to it, let me arrange the screen for proper display purpose. Now, let us understand. System is the root or base namespace in our .NET framework. Then we have a class called as console, and we have Windows, which is a sub namespace for the system. And also we have web, which is again a sub namespace of system namespace. So to refer, we can use using system, and we can now access the console class directly. Let us assume that the console class consists of a method with the name called as writeLine. So to access that, we can say console.writeLine. Similarly, let us assume that we have forms, which is a sub namespace for Windows, and then this form sub namespace consists of a class with the name form. So in order to refer the form class, we need to specify using system.windows.forms, and then we can refer the form directly. The main advantage of writing the code within the namespace is it is very easy to maintain, and also namespace avoid class name collisions or ambiguity. Before we start with writing the console applications, minimum we need to know some important members. First is console. It is a class which is used to provide the methods for supporting the console applications. Now, let us understand what are the minimum methods required for writing the console applications. Right. It is used to write the information on the console. WriteLine. It is used to write the information on the console by appending a new line character at the end of the information. Read. It is used to read a single character and returns an integer. ReadLine. It is used to read a single line of information, that is a string. Read key. It is used to accept a single character for display. I will be using the latest stable Visual Studio .NET 2013 here, and you can use any version of VS.NET. Whenever we use 2013, then we can use all the latest features of C# 5.0. And when it comes to ASP.NET, we can use 4.5 framework. In future, after your batch gets completed, if a new version releases, then I will be preparing separate video series on the new features of C# 6, 7, maybe 8 versions also, and whenever the relevant version is released. And since our main intention is to learn ASP.NET 4.5, any VS.NET IDE will be okay for us. Now let us open the VS.NET by typing dev env. Once the VS.NET IDE is open, then click on the File menu and click on the New Project. Under the Install Templates, we can observe different languages. Since our intention is to develop applications using C#, let us click on the Visual C#. Now remember that whenever a person specifies C#, C#.NET or Visual C#, all these terms are referred to the same language. Once we have selected the C# language, we can observe various templates. Since our requirement is to develop console applications, let me select the console applications. And now let me specify the location where our application has to be stored. Since this is my .NET 399 batch, let me specify the location as DNet 399 batch. And let me specify the name of the application as CS intro, and let me click on the OK button. Now we can observe some default template code of C# console application is displayed. To understand the coding better, first let me remove the entire code. Now let us start with our coding. Since this is our first C# program, let me write a simple command stating my first C# program for .NET 399 batch. Since we need to use some methods from the console class, let us import the system namespace. To do that, let me type in using system. As I already informed that writing the code within the namespace will help in maintaining the code easily and also avoid class name ambiguity, let me type in namespace CS intro. And within that, let me define the class. So let me type in class first program. Remember that it is not mandatory to have the same name for the file and class name. If you observe, the name of the file is program.cs and the class name what I provided is first program. Now let us have the entry point, that is main method. So let me type in public static void main. And now let us write some couple of write statements to display some information on the console. So let me type in console.writeLine of welcome to C#.NET world. Next, let us write one more statement. So let me type in console.write of .NET is very easy to learn. Once again, let me write one more statement to display some message. So let me type in console.write of yet a very powerful technology. And once again, let me write one more write line statement this time. So let me type in console.writeLine of shaker. Now once the program has been completed, now in order to execute the program, we need to click on project menu. Then we need to click on the application properties. Then we need to select the name of the class to be executed at the startup object and then press Ctrl plus F5 to execute the program. Now if you observe the result, then we can observe that whenever we have used console.writeLine, then the next statement is displayed in a new line. Whereas whenever we have used console.write, then the next statement is displayed on the same line. Now remember one important point. Whenever we are writing the code, if there is no proper main method defined within the class, then you can observe the name of the class will not be displayed on the startup object. And remember one more important point. In order to execute the program, press Ctrl plus F5 so that the result will be waiting for the key press. Whenever you press F5, then the result will be displayed on the console and immediately the result will be closed. In this session, we have understood a brief introduction to getting started with C# language. In the next session, we shall understand C# fundamentals. See you in the next session.